Automation is an easy way for you to edit tracks inside of GarageBand, including the master track. And it allows you to edit things such as the volume, panning, echo, reverb, effects and smart controls, and a whole list of other things. Now, each track, depending on what type of audio file we're working with, whether it be a keyboard track, a drum track, an audio file, or a MIDI file, is going to have different settings. And I encourage you to come in and play with each of these settings, but we're just going to go ahead and show you the basics today. So before we begin, let's go ahead and just record a basic track here. All right, that's just a little something to have in there so that we can go ahead and mess around with this. Once we have that recorded, we'll go ahead and close the musical typing keyboard so that we have a little more room to work with here. And we'll play it back just so you can see how it sounds. Okay, now the first thing we're going to want to do is turn on the automation. So we're going to go to the top and we're going to click on Mix, Show Automation, and as you can see here, you can also hit the A key on your keyboard. If you're using a lot of automation, remember that shortcut because it'll come in handy. Now, on the grid and the rulers, it pulls up a different type of view here with the line going across, and this is your baseline for your automation, this gray line. And you can see that the automation button is turned on at the top. And we also have an enable automation button here too. So if you're editing multiple tracks, you can turn this on and off for each track depending on what you're editing. And below that, we have the parameters. So the first one selected is volume. And if I click on this, you can see it gives me different parameters to edit. I can edit the volume, the panning, echo, reverb, smart controls such as the bell, the treble, tremolo, ambience, and so on. And like I said, each track is going to have a different set of parameters that you can edit. But for ease of sake, we'll just edit the volume. So to add a point inside of the automation track, all we're going to do is we're just going to click one time, and you see that line becomes yellow, and there is a yellow dot where I added a point. So I'll just move the playhead out of the way so you can see this. So there's a yellow dot there. Now I can take this and I can drag it down, and when I do, since we're editing the volume, you will see the dB of the volume change as well as the volume slider is actually moving because the automation is letting us adjust the volume here. So I can drop this all the way out so it's completely silent, and then maybe when we get to the top of our scale, I can add another point by just clicking on that line. Now I'll just click and drag and I can move that up. And what this is going to do is it's going to go from very silent or soft and gradually get louder and louder until it gets to the top where it gets the loudest. And let's just go ahead and we'll add another point here. And then we'll add one at the end and we'll just click and drag that down. So you can see what's happening here. It's silent, it gets very loud, it stays loud for a little while, and then gets silent again. So now let's listen to how that sounds. And if you notice, the volume slider was actually moving along with this. So as you go through, you can see that volume slider. And it's the same thing if we were, say, editing the pan, you would see the pan knob adjusting also. So this is a very quick way to come in here and adjust these different types of parameters. You can do effects, echo, like say you had a part of a song where, none of the song has any echo, but this one little section you wanted to add in a quick burst of echo. You could do this very easily and very visually with automation. Now to edit the points, it's just like editing anything else in GarageBand. You can left click to select a point. Now if you select beside it, of course it's going to add a point. So make sure you're clicking on the actual point to get it. And then you can just click and drag to move it around. You can also marquee select points, so I can select these two and I can move them together. I can click and hit the delete key on the keyboard to delete a point if I don't want it. So maybe I, delete this key out here. And you can also copy and paste points. So say I wanted to, let's just add that point back in here. We'll move it back up. Say I wanted to copy this and later on in the track, and have the same thing happen again. So I could just marquee select these 2 points. I can go to the top and select edit, copy, or use your shortcut keys. And then I'm going to paste it, and it's going to be dependent on where the playhead is. So if I move the playhead, let's say I had more track, and at 10, well, that's not even going to work. Let me put it here at 7. Say I wanted the same thing to happen again. I'm going to put a point right here so you can see this. Now I'm just going to go back up to the top and hit edit, paste. And you can see that it pasted the same points with the same timing in that area. So you can copy and paste points and do all kinds of cool things. And then finally, you can actually draw points. This is kind of a fun, cool way of creating some interesting arrangements with your automation. Let me show you how this works. I'm just going to go ahead and select all these and hit the delete key. And we'll just move this back up for now. And if I hold down the command key on the Mac, you see that it turns into this pencil. And I can just click anywhere I want with this pencil selected, and it's going to make those points for me automatically. So this is a fun way to kind of draw. And you can also click and hold down, and as you move, it's going to keep creating points how you're drawing, which is really cool, really fun. And it's a quick way to edit these automation curves. And you can get some really cool, interesting effects by doing this. So just for fun's sake, let's go ahead and listen to how this sounds. And you can do that, like I said, with any type of parameter or effect that you want to choose here. And each track is going to have a different set of parameters based on what type of audio file you're using. You can also adjust automation for the master track. So, you can edit the individual tracks, but you can also edit the master track of the whole audio project and create any type of effects that you want. So maybe you had done this really great project, a ton of tracks, you have different automations and volumes going throughout the whole track, but at the very end of the whole song, you wanted to do a nice slow fade out. Well, you could do that. Instead of going in and editing every audio track to have a fade out at the end, you would just put that on the master track. So we just go up to the top and we click on track, show master track. It shows us our master track here, and we'll need to select a parameter, so I can just say do volume here. And then I could, like I said, maybe click here and here, and then just do a fade out at the end, and that would fade out every track and the whole project. So that's automation. It's a lot of fun. Get in here, mess around with these parameters, and it's something I think you'll really enjoy and find useful the more you use it.